Hi, we're Jana and John. As you can see, this is our first video, so here's a quick intro to us.
We're Zimbabwean and German, married, both in our 30s.
And like seemingly half of YouTube, love exploring culture, food and nature.
Because we flew a lot last year, we decided to make 2024 a no-flying year.
And explore Europe by car instead. We thought about buying a camper van, but didn't really feel like spending upward of 30k. So when we discovered rooftop tents, we got very excited. Oh yes, there's one more thing you gotta know about us. We do a lot of research before we buy something. And yes, sometimes that does become a problem. So countless of hours of watching YouTube videos, reading blogs, and 2 showroom visits later, it felt like we'd reviewed every folding and hardshell tent on the market. And we narrowed down our choices to 3 options. Price-wise, our favorites ranged between 3,000 and 4,000 euros in Germany for the basic version.
The RoofSpace 2.0 stood out to us because of its panorama mode.
But because it's new on the market, there weren't any review videos online.
And so we were hesitant.
3,500 for a tent that didn't have independent reviews felt a bit like a risk.
So we wrote the brains behind the tent and struck a deal.
RoofSpace would lend us one of their tents in exchange for an honest review. And that last bit was crucial for us. And the team agreed. So everything you hear in this video is true. Even though, yes, we did get the tent for free, we're here to give you an honest and true opinion, not a sponsored one. I think that's enough info for now, so let's get into it.
Let the RoofSpace 2.0 test begin. We chose the north of Spain for our adventure. We explored the Atlantic coast,
the mountainous Picos de Europa, and the regions around Navarre and Rioja.
The weather ranged from super sunny to thunderstorm.
And that leads us to our first question. What is it like sleeping in a tent in a storm? Well, we had one night in a thunderstorm, and to be honest, it was scary. The tent was fine and we absolutely stayed dry and we did not fly away, but we did wake up many times that night. I do question whether the other tents would have been different. Maybe the hard shell could have helped, but in any case, our advice would be check whether there might be a storm and park somewhere more sheltered if you want a peaceful night.
One thing we noticed was that wrapping the awning at the front really reduced the noise level.
Did we get wet? No. In fact, I was thrilled because I tested putting the sides down to have more of a view and not a single drop got in. I just love the feeling of being sheltered whilst watching and hearing the sound of rain, so it was really cool to experience that.
Does water get into the tent if you pack it up wet? And how long does it take for the tent to dry out? On a warm and sunny day, we would estimate that it takes less than an hour for the tent to be fully dry again. After a rainy night and misty morning, we packed up the tent to test this. You can clearly see how wet it was.
A few hours of driving later, we parked up at a sunny lake and checked, and the inside was slightly cool and very, very lightly damp from condensation, but honestly nothing that concerned us. By the time the bed was set up, everything was dry again.
And as long as you open and close the entrance carefully, the mattress does not get wet. I didn't, so you can see a few drops did get in.
How fast and easy is the setup? The setup is very easy, and it gets faster with each day as you get into a routine.
It is possible to do it as just one person and doesn't require a lot of strength. Just a bit of patience and acrobatics when stuffing fabric into the sides.
The ladder and its mechanism is one thing that we would like to see improved. The mechanism is a little bit fiddly and you have to watch your hands when closing it. And you have to store it in the included bag as it doesn't get stored in the tent. So you'll have to decide whether that's a deal breaker for you. For us, it wouldn't be. Can you use the tent without the ladder? Technically, a ladder is not needed. And while we didn't manage to climb up without, we did benefit from it a few times. In a few spots, the ground was not level, but since the ladder is not needed for stability, it didn't matter, and that actually made life easier. How comfortable is the mattress?
The mattress is harder, which we quite liked, because it feels like it'll last longer.
There are more comfortable ones out there, but with the topper, we think it could get close. How much bedding can be left in the tent? We were able to leave both of our duvets inside, but not our pillows. Our tip here, layer them all on the side that sits on top of the car so that you can close the tent more easily.
How comfortable is the space, especially for tall people? This was an important one for us, and we were positively surprised. I'm 1.85 m and was able to comfortably sit inside the tent. We had dinner, played games, and would expect that at least one additional small person, or perhaps a dog, could fit in as well.
Were there any other cool features you want to highlight? Well, we used the inside pockets and loops for various things, hanging up lamps, drying clothing, storing our phones, etc. We also made use of the mattress-free space at the end to leave dishes or clothes there until the morning. That, to be honest, was really helpful. How often did you stand on the tent?
We stood on the tent once. I'm not sure we'd really do that more often.
But maybe you would?
How often did we use the panorama mode?
We did use the panorama a lot, as often as possible really. It is one of our favorite features. It opens up the tent to give you an amazing view, while still having a bit of shelter from sun and wind. So, super cool. Finally, a few other observations on quality and accessories.
Overall, we feel that the tent is thought through and of good quality. Here's a close-up of the seams and glued areas so you can see for yourself.
The fabric blocks out light very well. As someone who's sensitive to this, I was very happy.
The zipper hooks are really well designed and very comfortable to pull, even in the dark.
The shoe bag is invaluable, and yes, it does keep your shoes dry.
The open tent can double as a rain protector for cooking. Of course, this does depend on the height of your car and also your own size. I couldn't fit under there, but Jana was able to, which was really helpful on some rainy evenings.
One thing that surprised us was that it wasn't as noisy as we expected when driving. Fuel consumption does go up though, so no surprises there.
Okay, so here's our final summary. The negatives first. The ladder and mattress buttons could be improved, and we worry that the fabric around the hook holes could fray over time.
We discussed these things with the Roofspace team so they can keep this in mind for the future. Positives? Hands down, the panorama is the hero, but we also value the ease of the setup and set down, the windows, and overall the just thought through design. Since we haven't tested the other tents yet, we cannot speak for them, but our gut feeling was that if we had to decide, the panorama feature alone would make us pick the Roofspace 2.0.
But we're open to be challenged. If you're interested to know more or want to buy the tent, it would be amazing if you could use the link below.
This will help us understand how useful this video was and support us directly for the effort we put in. And that's it. We hope you enjoyed this video and got valuable information from it. If you've got other questions or want to see more, leave us a comment below.
Thanks for watching.